Jason Gatson of Team USA has come back from athletic oblivion. That he is about to lead the United States onto the floor of the World Championships is amazing, but maybe not to him. As NBC Sports welcomes you to the 37th World Championship of Artistic Gymnastics, there is Jason Gatson. Not amazing maybe to him. In 1999, when he first blew apart his knee, he was the first one to say, "Don't worry, I'll be back." Then all those lonely days of rehab and indecision. And when he finally returned once again at the National Championships and blew out his knee a second time, he was the first one to say, "I'll be back." And here he is. And how many people in this arena or on this television station can appreciate his story is impossible to figure, but it is a small number. And yet there is Jason Gatson about to begin this Team World Championship for the United States, and he will do so on floor exercise. I'm Al Troutwig, along with the greatest gymnast that Canada has ever produced, Elfie Schlegel, and Olympic gold medalist Tim Daggett. Andrea Joyce is patrolling the floors for us today. And the way this works is that there are two teams at a time. Right now, by chance of draw, Korea is also performing at the same time. The United States will be on floor exercise. This World Championship is expected to come down to the US, China, Japan, or Russia. Here we go.
And Jason, you see that big knee brace, obviously protecting a knee that is still not 100%. He choreographs his routine so that all the passes until his final one go into a rollout position. It's great not only to protect that knee, but it also helps a tremendous amount in that landing deductions are almost non-existent.
Tim, in your career, you came back not from an injury like this, but a very severe injury. How often do you think about what it's going to feel like when you hit?
Well, you think about it a lot, to be perfectly honest, and Jason Gatson has got to land on it for the first time at the end of this tumbling run, right here. Very tricky combination. Oh, and that, you know, he was a little bit crooked on the second rebounding skill and just didn't get the bounce. He says this dismount really bothers his knee. He was so excited about leading Team USA off in this championships.
Actually, he said, Tim, it was quite an honor to be the first man out.
3 elements in a row right here for the dismount. Gets him a handful of bonus. Critical to get this all the way around. And you know what? That's odd because it looked like he had enough energy, enough rotation, just wasn't quite prepared for the ground.
8-9-7-5, not the way Jason Gatson wanted to start these World Championships. Some might say his Olympic dreams were dashed and crushed. Actually, he says they'll just be postponed. Now here's Paul Hamm from Waukesha, Wisconsin, just outside of Milwaukee. He and twin brother Morgan are back after getting rid of their injury problems, not near as seriously as Jason Gatson.
Wow, what a powerful opening, double twisting, double layout. Remember, the critical thing in this team competition, the new rules are 3 men up, all 3 scores count.
Each team has 6 athletes that they can choose their top 3 on each event. But the critical thing, you cannot have mistakes. Certainly can't have a lot of them and be competitive in this competition.
Basically one really bad routine and you're done as a team.
Exactly. With the mistake by Jason, it would have hurt a heck of a lot more if they didn't have 2 guys like Paul and Morgan Hamm waiting in the wings. These 2 are certainly world class, if not one of the absolute best in the world. Both of them are.
And can post a huge score. Scored a 9.562 in the first day.
And he sixed it.
Great score.
That's what you call picking up a teammate. Paul Hamm is the cover man on the media guide for the U.S. team. He is the reigning national champion, ending the 5-year string of Blaine Wilson. 9.675. And these days in gymnastics, that's a big number. And and now to his twin brother. What's the biggest secret you guys have found at telling them apart?
Well, actually, you see it in their nose, I think, but you also see it that, believe it or not, even after watching Paul tumble, this guy jumps higher. It's incredible.
Same first tumbling pass.
Huge double twisting, double layout. You're just not supposed to be able to do that. If you're a human being, you're not supposed to be able to do it. He had trouble on this in day one, didn't make the pass. Perfect.
Remember
You
Morgan.
hear the yelps of joy from his teammates in the background. And this crowd at Arrowhead Pond of Anaheim is really into their gymnastics. First U.S. World Championship since 1991.
Morgan, of course, was a finalist at the Sydney Olympics. What he's known for is sticking landings. And that's crucial at a World Championships.
Another double layout.
Oh. That's uncharacteristic.
He's too much power, too high, but also going to get a huge number.
Sorry, we'll just save that flare.
The U.S. men suffered a very disappointing Olympic experience in Sydney, but then rebounded in 2001 to claim a silver medal as a team. And now, after Jason Gadsden's 8.975, Morgan and Paul Hamm at a 9.675 and now a 9.625 to help pick him up. Back after this on NBC. The World Gymnastics Championships are brought to you by Zocor. Talk to your doctor about Zocor today. By Prudential Real Estate, we have the people and the technology to make buying and selling faster. And by Longines, the official watch of World Gymnastics. Back at the World Championships of Gymnastics in Anaheim, California, the United States has had its turn on the floor exercise. Now it's up to the Chinese men. They'll start with Yang Wei here. Give me the sense of the confidence level of the Chinese coming into these World Championships, guys.
Well, not great on floor exercise and high bar. Head coach Huang Yubin said he is most fearful of this event. And on top of that, it's the rebounding passes that he worries most about. Multiple skills being done in a row is what worries the coach, and it happens right here. He has struggled with this for a week and a half, but not today. Every time you put one skill on top of another, it makes it a little bit more difficult. The timing has to be even more dead-on precise.
The head coach, Tim, also mentioned that this was the first time since the Sydney Olympics that they're actually showing their best in the world against the best that are here, because they did not send their A team to the 2001 World Championships. Yang Wei was a silver medalist at the Sydney Olympics, by the way, in the all-around.
Full twisting double. And that wasn't bad.
Now, we saw the little slide of the right foot. Is that a stick or not?
Well, you know, I tell you, my guess would be half the panel calls it a stick and half of them takes 5/100ths of a point.
Yang Wei has previously gone for the Chinese, registering a 9.312. And we have seen a tremendous growth in the emotional outpouring among the Chinese teammates in recent years. The high fives, the screaming, the yelling, the supporting, the winning.
Here is his dismount. And he kind of has a hard time deciding whether he wants to grab his legs or not.
Doesn't do a whole lot of pulling there, Tim. It makes it around quite easily.
That's a great routine.
Nice finish.
Yang Wei, very solid, 9.65. That can negate one of the Hamm twin scores on floor exercise. Now we stay with China, Li Chaopeng.
Their head coach says every team needs a leader. It is critical, and he identifies this young man as one. He might be the most talented gymnast that I have ever seen. He has every quality that you look for: speed, power, quickness, flexibility. And he can jump. Wow.
A little extra over rotation there.
But here is the pass that the coach is so worried about. The second pass. Somehow, once again, able to pull that around. He has been nursing a injured ankle and has not been himself on
Tim,
floor
you
exercise.
just took in a lot of ground there. I mean, more than Alexei Nemov.
I tell you, well, and that was right there, a giant mistake. It's going to come down to whether or not the judges feel that he held that skill where his body was parallel to the floor, whether he held it a complete 2 seconds. Certainly going to get a deduction for the fall, but could also lose 0.2 of a point for not meeting a special requirement. I wouldn't give it to him.
And you know, we've seen this before from the Chinese team, Tim. They hit the big skills, and something that simple just shouldn't happen.
That is so hard. Full twisting, double laid out somersault at the end of a floor exercise routine. In my dreams, Al, I could never have done that as fresh as I could ever have been.
Can we go back to the Alexei Nemov thing?
Well, yeah, Alexei's fantastic. There's no question about it. He's got a lot of special qualities. I personally think that this guy, he's just a better athlete.
And Elfie, you mentioned little mistakes on little things. I thought that pretty much in Sydney, this team got away from that stigma.
Well, they certainly did. They were obviously the gold medal team and got away from those little mistakes. But here we're just seeing some slight difficulties in this tumbling pass, but he pulls it out. There's fight. There's fight in this athlete.
Yeah, he actually, many athletes would not have been able to continue if they had landed in the positions that he had landed. He's just so strong and so determined. Somehow he's able to continue the pass.
Li Chaopeng gets a score of 9.20. So quick check of the numbers, and the United States will be a little bit better than China. We switch to the Russians and Alexei Bondarenko.
And here is another tremendous talent in the sport of gymnastics. He has a whole bunch of world medals and a couple of Olympic ones, but he really has never reached his potential. Oftentimes, when it really is on the line, he has faltered a little bit.
But he still continues to do some really big skills.
Watch, he'll do a bunch in a row here.
Fantastic.
Supposed to do one more release after that third hecht on high bar. Opts to just be a little bit conservative.
One little step with some pretty spectacular stuff for Alexei Bondarenko. And knowing that you have Alexei Nemov as your anchor man can do a lot for your ability to let it fly.
But this Russian team is facing quite a bit of their own adversity at these World Championships. In the first round of the qualifying competition, they lost one of their top gymnasts to a torn Achilles on floor exercise.
To a rejuvenated Japanese team. That is Naoya Sukahara. And you might be saying to yourself, I've heard that name before, and there's good reason why, because of that man. What did he mean to the sport of gymnastics, Tim?
A heck of a lot. Not only did he win Olympic and world medals, but he also was one of the most creative and innovative gymnasts that this sport has ever seen. He invented, of course, the Sukahara vault that many athletes still perform today. They add a flip or a couple more twists. Also, a full twisting double on the floor exercise called the Sukahara.
So this is the son of a legend.
Also has a big first tumbling run. Little bit under rotated on that. Takes that step forward. This is the best Japanese team that I have seen in years. They actually looked even better in training than they did in day one. Look very unified.
Next on horizontal bar for Russia, Alexei Nemov.
hear the introduction of Alexei Nemov of Russia. We'll get to his high bar performance in a moment.
And so, as I said, he will be dismounting with a skill his father invented. Full twisting double somersault, step on the landing. He's actually capable of doing much better than that, Al.
Meanwhile, the crowd continues to grow. Typical Los Angeles area late arriving crowd here in Anaheim, about 40 miles south of Hollywood. We go back to the Russians. The score, as we do some housekeeping for Alexei Bondarenko, is a 9.425. That's very, very solid for them. Back to Sukahara of Japan, a 9.250. It looks as though they'll be behind China and the United States. And here is Captain Medal, the Superman. He's got the best biography in the gym, the reigning Olympic all-around champion, Alexei Nemov.
12 Olympic medals, 4 of them gold, 1 of them on this event, the high bar. He can do just about anything. And this routine is as packed as it can possibly be. Planning on 6 releases, 4 of them done in a row right here.
Fingertip control.
And he's not done. 1 more. Not only does he do super difficult gymnastics, but he is so elegant. The body line is fantastic.
Crowd wants 10s. They love the release moves.
Yeah, I agree with you, Al. If he had stuck that dismount, I'm telling you, that routine, I don't care what they say on the floor, that's a 10.
You know, he did the exact same routine in the first night of competition. It was definitely the highlight of that day as well.
You know, we asked him, why are you continuing still? He says he has a tremendous pride for Russia, and he feels obligated. Team is a little bit weaker now. He wants to see them on top still. Now, this looks so easy because he's so tremendous. But to be that exact, the timing.
And to do it with legs glued together, that's impressive.
So Alexei Nemov puts another fabulous routine on the podium. The United States, China, Japan, Russia, all battling here in the World Championships after the first of 6 events in the men's team final. Russia has the lead off their spectacular exploits on the high bar. They lead the United States by 87 thousandths of a point. With the Olympics now just about a year away, these are an important World Championships of Gymnastics at Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, California. After 1 of 6 rotations, Russia off the high bar, leading the United States by a tiny amount after their efforts on the floor exercise. Now, so far we have seen some good and some not so good. Teng Haibin of the Chinese team, as they move to the pommel horse, put up a fabulous score of 9.712. That was some good news for the Chinese men. Chao Qin, 9.237, however. That was one of the down moments for the Chinese men. And remember, as we said, 3 men up, all 3 scores count. You put up a bad score, you are going to keep that bad score.
And this was disastrous for the Chinese team, a 9.237. Believe it or not, this guy, in my opinion, he could have been somewhere in the 9.9 range. He is that good.
Alexei Nemov, a man of few mistakes, made one there in floor exercise, stepping out for the yellow flag and receiving a 9.212. So a bad misstep for the leaders. And now we go to the story of Takahiro Kashima of Japan. This was in the good news department. In spite of the touches, he would receive a score of 9.637. So Japan moves into the picture. As now does the United States on the pommel horse. This is Morgan Hamm, and for a gymnast like him, you have to talk about selective memory.
All right.
You want to
Good
remember some
extension
things
here.
and you want to
Bounce,
forget
get
some
into your
others.
groove.
And he wants to
And don't
forget
hold
the
back on the
qualifying
flanks. Just
round.
take the side,
That's
turn
for
the
sure.
hips
He was
in.
doing a fantastic exercise.
Go up to the
Gets to the
handstand
end of
and
his
pull a little bit on the
routine,
dismount,
and
okay?
he totally misses his last hand, and he just plummets to the ground. A little bit scary, actually came down almost right on his head. Very uncharacteristic. Never seen him make that mistake before in my
Good
life.
tiger, Morgan.
He said that he was so tired physically, he was very laid up for the USA on floor exercise, and then had to go up relatively early for the pommel horse and was just dead tired. And by the time he got to the end of his routine, he had nothing left.
Well, Stacey Maloney said that he is a real team player. When it does come down to the crunch, he will get the job done.
Little bit of a struggle on that one pommel, but held on tight. Just his scissor element, and now here is the dismount. Endurance always a factor on pommel horse.
He got the job done.
No problem today.
Stay on, buddy. You do it. Let's do it. You're an animal.
Very different air about these United States men compared to Sydney, Australia, and with good reason.
You see just a little bit of a struggle here. The legs come apart slightly. Right there. Not going to be a large deduction. Still going to get a very good number.
9.487 to Brett McClure.
He told me that everything in my entire career has been a build-up towards this moment. Competing at the 2003 World Championships. And although we're on the second event for Team USA, this is his first event. Most athletes really don't like starting on the pommel horse. It's very tricky and
Bad right from the start.
remarkable that he was able to keep going there.
You know, Brett put up a big score in the first day, 9.562.
And now another struggle.
This is a shame.
Sometimes you walk out there on the floor and you go up to the pommel horse in a meet like this, so much pressure, you can't even feel your arms. You get down and you say, I don't know what happened. I couldn't feel my arms. But he did stay on.
How does that lead to his legs coming apart?
Well, you know, when you stop feeling your arms, you get so paranoid about that, because that's obviously what's keeping you on the horse, that you lose focus a little bit. You lose some of that tension, that body tightness that you need to keep those legs together.
Right.
Morgan Hamm to Paul Hamm as Brett McClure gets a 9.112. And again, now the United States is going to keep that score. It's no, you know, 4 athletes out there keep the best 3. It's 3 and all scores stick. So now the pressure falls on Paul Hamm. He knows the score.
Yeah, I mean, that right there legitimately cost the USA 0.5 of a point off of their team total. Paul has a great swing on pommel horse. Very extended body. He's a little bit off, but
Watch
managing to keep those legs together, though.
Look at the speed here. It's fantastic. Love it.
Does one of the best scissors in the competition.
Oh,
Wow, that was almost shades of Morgan from day one. A little bit off-centered on that dismount.
They are competing and performing like twins here today.
They are.
So now the United States wraps up on pommel horse. There'll be another switch. Paul Hamm gets an even 9.50, and we do the math, and there is a tie for third as Russia falls. Russia and Japan are even. The United States is now still in second, but over 4/10 behind China. And the Chinese men have moved to the rings for the next rotation. And they can be absolutely spectacular when airborne, as they will be in Anaheim after this. The reigning Olympic gold medal men of China have moved to the rings. Third rotation that will bring us to halftime. Li Peng. He performed in floor exercise and scored a 9.2. Chinese men have grabbed the lead here.
Being strong is the most critical component to still rings, and that he is.
And of course, all these strength elements have to be held for a mandatory 2 seconds.
But believe it or not, Al, it's not just the guys that you see on the floor that are strong from China. They have the reigning all-around champion, Feng Jing, from 2001. He made the trip here, but he's not good enough to make the team. Once again, that's pretty darn good. Full twisting double laid out somersault. They have much more confidence than they used to have. Oftentimes they looked a little bit out of their element when it came down to the pressure situations.
Tim, I have to say that probably has a lot to do with finally winning an Olympic gold medal.
In 1996, they were unquestionably the best team in the world. They fell apart. The Russians won that competition. They finally got their gold in 2000. This man right here, one of the main reasons why.
And the score for Li Peng is a very impressive 9.6. So China looks to put a stranglehold on the top spot. For the team gold medal, Wang Zhu.
Also a member of that 2000 Olympic gold team.
And this, of course, is his first event of the competition.
From the 6 athletes, they choose their top 3 on each event. Coach Huang Yubin actually feels that the 3 scores count benefits the Chinese team. They've had a lot of injuries.
Now, Tim, we see some guys who go to the Iron Cross and it's effortless. You can't tell in their face that there's any strain.
That was like I did.
Exactly. And then some guys have a little bit of a, a neck strain and their face vibrates a little bit. Does that count against them? It's part of the aesthetics, right?
It is part of the aesthetics, and the judge really shouldn't take a deduction for that, but it makes an impression. And so when they go to scratch something on a piece of paper, like that's a perfect example right there. On some gymnasts that maybe looked like they were struggling and fighting with these horrendous faces throughout, he bends over on that landing. They may choose to not take the deduction on this guy.
Talk about strength. No matter how many times you see a gymnast do some things like you would see on the still rings,
like this.
It blows your mind.
Just try this. Push the couch out of the way. Make sure the coffee table's way in the corner, and just put your arms on the ground, lift your legs off, and lean forward. It is so incredibly difficult. This is a leaning to a cross named after the, of course, famous Olympic gymnast.
That's a big score. That's going to help China stay on top, 9-6-6-2. Across the floor now to someone who has got to be feeling a little bit of pressure. The Russians are the Russians after all, and Anton Golodtsutskov had a 9.137 on floor exercise. That's not very strong, and here he is on pommel horse.
And Leonid Arkayev, who's the head coach for both the men and the women in Russia, is pretty high on this young man. But we are seeing a different kind of Russian gymnast. In the past, you would never see a performance like this from a Russian. They would not get to a world championships if their body had this type of lack of extension, if the form
there would be plenty others along the way that would definitely be able to take this man's place, for sure. The form, it just wasn't there.
Just the system is really starting to catch up with them now.
It's disappointing.
You have...
Well, it's a country that's reinventing itself.
It is. There are much fewer incentives. There are much fewer coaches. The program is not the same. They are holding on, but mostly because of gymnasts from the past, like Nemeth.
Tatsuya Yamada of Japan. I'll tell you what, and in Los Angeles, like many American cities, you can come from virtually anywhere in the world and find a neighborhood to go to. And of course, there's a Chinatown here, and there's a huge Korean neighborhood. There's probably 100 Japanese fans here waving the Japanese flags throughout various parts of the arena, so they've got to feel fairly comfortable.
One of the strongest guys in the competition, his coach, Mr. Kano, felt that he was a contender to win an individual event medal at these championships. And the Japanese are very unique at these championships. Most of the teams, I believe all of the teams except for Japan, chose their team like they would be competing. That means that they didn't choose just all-around gymnasts like all of the countries did many years ago. Japan, however, went straight rank order in the all-around.
And the two teammates before him scored big with 9.537, 9.65. This is going to get a great score.
Going to get a big number, but he didn't keep those feet still when he hit the ground, so could have been a 10th higher.
Looks happy about it. Olin Sutskov, 9.237 after a 9.137 on the floor. Russia's got to pick it up. Japan now threatening to move ahead of Russia with that score over 9.6 by Yamada. The United States and our first look at Blaine Wilson in the World Championships team final. The United States on the rings as we continue. They try to hold on to second spot and defend their silver medal from the last World Championships. Coverage of the 2003 World Championships of Gymnastics continues from the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, California. Al Troutwig, Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel, Andrea Joyce, and now Raj Babsar of the American team.
Now, Al, remember I talked about the Japanese team choosing their squad completely by rank order in the all-around. Raj fits the USA team very well. He fills some holes. They needed a super strong guy on the still rings, and he fits that bill extremely well.
Again, 6 athletes to choose from, 3 per event, keep all 3 scores, and this sets the tone for the Olympics in 2004.
It does. This format was used for the first time at the 2001 World Championships. It will be the same format come time in Athens. Big dismount, double twisting, double laid out somersault.
Well, you said he fills the need.
He sure does. And this guy, I tell you, he's one of those guys that he can be so much better in a meet than he has been training in practice. He is a gamer.
And now Jason Getz, who wants to get as far away as he possibly can from his 8.975 debut on floor exercise. But yet this appearance at the World Championships has to mean really so much to him, beyond words, really. 9.612 for Raj Babsar.
The one thing that Jason benefited from by the knee injuries, he was always a big, strong-looking kid, but really lacked in the still rings area, being able to do those very intensive strength parts. And with the knee injury, he had the opportunity to spend so much time both in the weight room and working on these individual strength parts. He has become Well, he's massive, as you can see, but he is now able to do remarkable strength combinations.
Now, you talked about the look. Here is a look of real strain.
Tim, I'm glad you mentioned the weight room, because I never would have known.
Went from what used to be unquestionably his weakest event to quite possibly his best event. USA did not stick very well the first night.
Well, they have now. That's an official welcome back to Jason Gatson.
The USA needed to average a 9.75 to catch the Chinese on this event. I think he'll be close to that number.
Let's go, Wilson.
And there's an energy building here in this arena. And now back to Blaine Wilson. It seems as though he has been part of the American gymnastics effort forever. 5 straight U.S. national titles. Now married and a dad and changing priorities. And Gatson does get Tim a 9.712. He's got to feel like he's made a major contribution now today. There's the United States start. Blaine Wilson as the anchor.
And those are gigantic numbers for this team. Of all the events for Blaine Wilson, this is one that I've never seen him miss on still rings. I've never seen him miss. The only question is going to come down to the landing, if he's going to stick it. This is as good as money in the bank as you can get. He told me after day one, he was very disappointed in his landings, was standing up too quickly, had to stay down long to stick the landing.
And the United States goes back to back to back. And the energy of a crowd can do many things. At times it seems to elevate teams to do things that didn't seem possible. But the United States has always thought it was possible. The crowd giving them energy, but it can't make them stick those landings like that. And now the numbers go into the computer, and we'll see whether the United States, as we've come to the midway point in this Team World Championship, has caught China. Blaine Wilson, a 9.737.
Good job, guys.
Halfway done in the World Championship men's team finals. The United States has made a move. They trail China by 0.2. Japan has climbed in front of Russia, falling fast. It seems, Elfie, as though Russia's got to get its act together here.
Well, certainly, but as Tim had mentioned, a lot has gone wrong in the country. They don't have the money anymore. But, you know, there was a time at World Championships we used to go in and say, could anyone beat the Russian team? We have to remember the rest of the world has really gotten better as well.
Still rings is all about precise positions. He's a little bit high on this inverted cross. That'll get him a couple of tenths deduction. This is an event where the Russian team certainly struggled, especially with the injury to Yevgeny Krylov. He was considered their top ring man. Beautiful dismount by Bondarenko, so difficult. Same one we saw from Raj Batsar.
And yet one step back.
Yes, it's amazing. You train probably 12 years to be able to do that dismount, Al, and it's so hard, it's so difficult, but you take that step and it's still a deduction.
Naoya Sukahara. and on the vault. Two nations competing at the same time, and that's why you may hear a reaction in the background in the middle of someone's performance.
He has opted to do an easier vault than we saw him training.
It's only out of a 9.7, actually.
Just do a double twist off the horse here.
How does he not do a Sukahara?
Good question.
How does he not?
His dad probably asked the same question. You know, kids, they're rebellious. Actually does this Yurchenko quite well, named after a great Russian gymnast, actually Soviet gymnast at that time.
A woman.
Sukahara without a Sukahara gets a 9.425. The Japanese men have to be feeling very good. They're in medal shape right now. They've moved past Russia. They gained almost a half a point on the Russians in the last rotation alone. And Bondarenko with a 9.35, smiling and winking his way through it.
But remember, that score relative to the American second score of Jason Gatson with a 9.712.
It's a big gap.
Evgeny Podgorny now, as we stick with the Russian story on rings.
And he was not slated to compete on the still rings. Does not have the precise positions, and sometimes the holds are a little bit short. He is competing here because of the injury to Krylov in the first day of competition, a torn Achilles.
Of course, with this being the World Championships, we've noticed that the judges are really, really picky with these strength holds. They must hold them for 2 seconds.
He has a very difficult and risky dismount plan, triple back somersault. Gets him some bonus points.
Oh boy.
But that gets nothing but deductions. You put your hands down like that, it's 0.5 of a point.
And that means the Russians could easily be keeping a score at maybe 9 or even in the 8s. And that could be a door opening for Japan and the United States. It could be a door closing for Russia. And that is how devastating it can be with a major mistake in this all 3 scores count format.
Maybe lets go of the rings a little too early and just opens up his body before he's completed 3 flips. Has the deduction of 0.5 for the hands going down, loses the bonus. That's smarts.
8.725. And that's a big hole to climb out of. It's got to bring energy to the United States team. Now it could really be just which color we're talking about.
It's starting to look that way, I'll tell you.
Go, Paul!
Paul Hamm. What a day it has been so far for the Hamm twins.
Stacy Maloney, his coach, has said he has never taken a step back in his gymnastics career.
Yeah! Takes a step forward. This vault's out of a 9.9. That's the maximum value.
Very nicely done.
Way to go, brother.
Does that same Yurchenko style vault as a round up, turns his body around. Tremendous flight.
Beautiful form in the air.
You see those lines, you have to land inside of the lines to not get a deduction, which he does.
And a 9.562. That'll help the United States. And now Brett McClure. McClure, remember, on the pommel horse, had a problem and got just over a 9.1. And in the team sport, you know, Tim, I mean, you feel like you want to do your thing. Yeah. You know, you don't want to be helped along.
And no way does he want to do that again. Big vault.
Yeah! Well, he stepped over the line.
But that is a very difficult vault.
Blind landing and all, that's what makes it super difficult.
When I heard he was doing this vault for the first time, I said, I can't believe it. It's just doing a double fall forward like that, blind landing, super difficult.
And this is one of the areas where the U.S. have improved. They've actually increased some of their start values from these guys on the team on this event. This, again, is a 9.9 start value.
I'm always amazed, Tim, that the judges don't judge based on a replay. They judge based on, what, a second of a guy flashing before them in the air.
Yeah, it's a lot going on in one piece of air, that's for sure.
And he overcomes the step over the line to still get a good score, 9.525 for Brett McClure. Now Morgenham. And Morgan and Paul have pretty much matched each other step for step and score for score.
And Morgan will do a different style vault than his brother Paul. He'll do a Kasamatsu with a full twist. It's rated out of a 9.9. This is unbelievable. He's supposed to do a 2.5 twist off the horse, and he does not. He does 1.5 twists.
He just opened up.
I hope they missed it.
His coach, Stacy Maloney, saying, I hope they missed it. I can't imagine if they could possibly miss it. He flashes the number of the vault, which is a 9.9 value. You see his body turns around, gets a little bit funky in the air.
Over the line as well.
Does only 1.5 twists. So instead of being a 9.9, this vault actually should start at a 9.5 maximum score.
And he has been awarded a 9.5. How's that possible?
They missed it. Incredible.
So this is one of those times when in that second they didn't see. They needed a replay.
Wow, I saw it, Alan. That is remarkable.
Lucky day there, huh? Yeah, they still got it.
Got what?
Did you do 2.5 or 1.5? That's what I thought.
Head Judge Shaw gone wide from China, no less. He has the ability to overrule. That was not a 9.9 start. That was 9.5.
See how this plays out after this. Off the beneficial scoring for the United States on vault, we stay on this apparatus for China. Xing Aowei will be the first to go. 9.312 on floor exercise, 9.7 on pommel horse.
This is a very powerful vaulting team for China. Oh, his steps are off. Wow.
And he stepped over the line on the side.
Yeah, that is not going to get a good score. Sometimes you're so much adrenaline that you're just a little bit too quick down the runway. He can do this vault much, much better, and actually was planning to do another half turn.
Actually had trouble in the team qualification round. He only scored a 9.1.
He's done something, perhaps, to his lower leg. We'll stay with the Chinese now. Yang Wei.
And the next two vaulters for China are just incredible.
He's been great so far. 9.65 on floor, 9.562 on rings.
This is worth a 10.
Triple twist off the horse.
Did you catch that?
That is ridiculous. One of the problems with gymnastics is that is just so much more difficult than 99.9% of the gymnasts, what they're performing in the world today.
Won a bronze medal at last year's World Championships on this event.
Now we're still not sure whether the Morgenham vault scenario has been worked through.
This does not look good. This is the men's technical director. He is the president, Stoica from Romania, and he has been looking at a videotape and has come over to
So they
discuss.
did go to video.
They did go to video.
Yang Wei, that's a home run. 9.75. You know, in sports, if from an American perspective anyway, if a receiver's going out of bounds and he is bobbling the ball and the side judge says he caught it, he's going to say thanks.
There you go.
If a hitter's at the plate and the umpire calls a strike the ball, thank you very much. So they're just going to let it play out. Li Qiaopeng
Al, this vault is impossible.
Crazy, eh? Little over rotation.
Unbelievable. I tell you, every gymnast in the world can't even conceive of doing that vault. That is incredible. He did this during podium training, and all of the gymnasts, typically the top gymnasts, are watching the other top teams, and everybody from Namath on down looks at that, and it's just like, how is that possible?
Won last year's World Championships on this event, so it helps that you've got the bronze and gold medalists. These guys are posting big scores here.
Half on, 2.5 twist off. We heard this guy was doing this vault a little while ago, and it's like, there's no way. That's it, that you just can't do it.
And you know, in the crazy world of gymnastics right now, you know, you take off a little bit for sidestepping, you figure, okay, 9.8 something, but that gets, for all its spectacular look, a 9.762. So the judging conversation still continues amongst those at the vault, where the United States has moved on. China flexing its muscles, Russia fading fast. The United States in silver position after 4 rotations. They'll be moving on to the parallel bars as we continue from the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim. After this is the 2003 World Championships of Gymnastics. We're back in Anaheim, California. A reminder to log on to NBCSports.com for coverage of the World Gymnastics Championships, including news and features on the top performances. It's all right now at NBCSports.com. There's a scoring story after 4 events, 6 rotations for the men. China with a lead of 3/10 over the United States, then Japan pulling away from Russia, or is it really just Russia falling away from Japan? Paul Hamm of the United States.
And I'll tell you, I would have hated to come up with the lineup on parallel bars. This is certainly one of Team USA's best events. Look at this right here. New skill for Paul, and that is a big deduction. Like I said, new skill for Paul. He came out of it on the front uprise and rushed the straddle cut. His leg clipped the bar.
All right, good job, Paul.
Had a form deduction, and I'm not sure they could give him credit for even doing that straddle cut catch. It's a requirement.
Good job.
I'm sure he is shocked. That's a part of his exercise that is the easiest.
Now, it's tough to tell which way you should look right now. You've got Blaine Wilson, and that's always interesting as he's chalking up. But now, Adrian Stoica.
I'm coming. I'm sorry about what.
No.
It was a big mistake.
Of course.
I cannot imagine how the judges could be so stupid.
I know.
No, it was not your mistake. But
I was walking back here, so I actually didn't see it.
There is Adrian Stoica, president of the men's technical committee, delivering the bad news to head coach Kevin Majika that a mistake had been made.
And the word stupid was used. So what, there's a deduction?
There will be a deduction. They'll correct the start value score. They'll lower it from the 9.9 that it was given initially and make it
back here, so I didn't,
the correct 9.5. So 4/10 of a point will be deducted.
We think. Now, Tim, I'm confused. Obviously, look, this is very, very difficult to see live, and we always say how we have the benefit of replay. But you picked it out right away.
Yeah, it's a mistake that should never, ever have happened. The way the judging panel is set up, there are actually 3 guys that their only responsibility is to look at the exercise and come up with the start score. They're not looking at deductions or anything.
They have given him that 9.112. So now the United States, which trailed China by only 3/10, is now going to trail China by 7/10 and more.
And that's devastating.
Come on, Blaine.
To Blaine Wilson on the parallel bars. and the United States is just taking a little bit of a hit here. So either that's rattled the group or it's,
to be honest,
inspire the group.
I don't think that they're going to know. They informed Kevin Majaika, the head coach, but my guess is that he wouldn't even tell the team. A lot of big skills done in a row here.
Of course, one of Blaine's best events. He scored 9.65 in the prelims. A little bounce check there.
Dismount.
Just having trouble with those stuck landings at this competition.
Good exercise, though.
Ballham, by the way, got a 9.425 on the parallel bars.
And that actually hurts also, because this team could average in the 9.65, even close to 9.7 area.
I don't think we saw the best of Blaine Wilson there at all, and he gets a 9.55. Are we ever going to see a 10 again, do you think? Ever?
Well, by the rules, I would say that it's very difficult to happen.
So we've legislated the home run out of the game.
It's too bad.
Here's Jason Gatson.
This is a super difficult exercise and very unconventional. This move right here, called the Gatson. He invented it. They named it after him. Has a super aggressive style on parallel bars.
And Tim, one thing that he has done extremely well on all his events is stick the landing.
And he does there. His arms went up. The arms of the crowd went up at the same time. And that keeps this feeling of momentum for the United States in the building.
Big time.
Jason Gatson back from 2 knee reconstructions. Started with an 8.9 on floor. Then the 9.7 plus on rings. All those lonely hours in the gym for a day like this in front of a crowd that is loving it. Might as well wait and see what the number is. Best of the bunch, 9.725. So in one moment, the United States suffers a deduction. That was the right thing to do. And Jason Gatson gives him something back. And that felt great for him. NBC Sports coverage of the 2003 World Championships of Gymnastics continues. The Arrowhead Pond of Anaheim, the home of the NHL's Anaheim Mighty Ducks. And a crowd that has been really excited by what it has seen from their home team, Team USA, in the last few minutes. The 5th rotation of 6 continues. The Chinese men on the parallel bars, Teng Hai-bin.
And he introduces a new element right here called a peach Diamondov. Super difficulty.
And the crowd really knows their gymnastics, yeah. Tim. You know, they reacted appropriately to that move.
You know, it's remarkable. A lot of gymnasts say they do a peach Diamondov, but they don't. That's a peach Diamondov right there. Look at the toes and the knees and the steps.
Couldn't quite finish it. Tomorrow on NBC Sports, the women will compete afternoon and evening, 2 and 7 Eastern Time.
Look at this element here. To generate the power to do that, well, I've never seen anybody that could. He combines it with a giant Diamondov right into that giant, to that double back flip.
And all with perfect form.
Beautiful gymnastics.
9.525. By the way, speaking of the women bring with them a very similar confidence that the men bring with them to the 2003 World Championship. So again, that's tomorrow here on NBC, afternoon at 2 Eastern, evening at 7 Eastern. Lee Chalpung.
This is where he is world champion, won that title at last year's World Championships.
And also Olympic gold. Now he was supposed to do a new element as well. These release skills where they go under the bar. Here's very nicely done, but he actually can do that with his legs straight. He would have been the first gymnast.
That's amazing.
You know, this routine, no matter how well you do it, it just hurts. I mean, he is slamming his body down on the bars.
Sticking dismounts. Look at the emotion.
Ah, the exuberance.
Yeah, he's tremendous. This guy, he could very well have been one of the greatest all-around gymnasts in the world. He only competes on 5 events, has been hampered by an elbow injury that makes pommel horse very painful. Landing a dismount is about 50% technique and about 50% confidence. Being confident to open your body, put your feet on the ground, exactly where you know they need to go.
9.762 for Li Xiaopeng, and the Chinese are looking like a team that's in front. The smiles, the strength, the excitement. And now the Russians. That's the opposite story. Here's their anchor. I mean, he's been the reason that they're anywhere in the standings right now, Alexei Nemov.
Had a fantastic high bar routine, struggled a little bit on the floor exercise. Traditionally, this can be a strong event for him. He's planning to do a vault that start values out of a 9.8.
Remember in Sydney, his baby was born right before the Olympics. Now that baby's 2 years old. Can you believe it?
Yes. Same vault that we saw from Li Xiaopeng, but with one less twist. This vault, very difficult as well. Not going to get the number that Xiaopeng got. But he says that he just wants to go to the Olympic Games one more time. He wants to get that feeling, grab onto it, hold it, and he wants one more gold medal.
And once again, Alexei Nemov puts up a very good score for his Russian team, 9.512, but he needs some help. And so far, he hasn't gotten that from Anton Golotsukhov.
I got to tell you, I saw this guy do this vault in training, and it really scared me. I asked him how he does it. He says, well, I just run hard, and I flip, and I twist.
It's out of a 10.
Oh!
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
He looked lost in the air. Oh my.
Yikes. That so dangerous. When I saw him doing this vault the way he was doing it, I just said, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yikes, turning sideways.
That's what happens when you twist too soon. And Al, you know, if the judges want to, believe it or not, they don't. If your feet don't contact the floor first, you can get a 0 on the vault.
Timmy, what was he there? Was he upset with the score, letting the team down, or does he think he escaped without getting hurt?
Oh, first off, I would say that he's really shook up because, I mean, a fall like that, he's, I don't know, 10, 12 feet in the air doing 3 saltos and a twist. It's dangerous, Al.
And that was scary stuff. Naoya Sukahara. Now, you've been talking him up on parallel bars a lot.
He's beautiful on parallel bars. This entire Japanese team, actually, as we said, they're great everywhere, but parallel bars, they have a history, even when they struggled as a team, of having tremendous athletes. He's so smooth on these release skills. Another one right here.
Beautiful, kicks it out actually.
Opens his legs.
Great rhythm.
Perfect body line. Never looks like it's a struggle for him. That's what the judges like, and they like that. even more.
So China flexing its muscles on top. The United States trying to keep pace, but there's a lot of pressure from behind from the Japanese team. And there once again is the legendary dad, Mr. Sukahara. What did he do to you once, Elfie?
Buried me in sand in Florida.
9-8 for his son. Tim, you know, why can't you tell us stories like that? So China has the lead. The United States is almost 8/10 back. Japan is right there in that battle for the silver. Russia is falling out of the picture. After 5 rotations, 1 more to come. Back in Anaheim, California, Al Troutwig along with Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel, and Andrea Joyce. If the Chinese men simply perform on the high bar up to their potential, they will win this gold medal. They've got that kind of a cushion. All they have to do is avoid that one big mistake.
And it's 3 releases. Remember, Coach Huang Yubin was most fearful of floor exercise, then high bar, because you gotta let go of the bar.
This is Wang Zhu.
He was also fearful that the American crowd would be very boisterous. They brought in speakers and had loud background music piped into the gym as these athletes trained to prepare for the anticipated loud noise. Here comes his only release skill. Right on.
That's a nice reaction from the crowd. I don't know how you need speakers to battle that. It's just simple applause and respect for what they just saw.
Yeah, I think they were, like I said, fearful that they would be on the floor at the exact same time the Americans were, and Blake
That's
Wilson
a different story.
knocks out a ring routine and the crowd goes crazy right in the middle of a release skill. Yeah. But
They're starting to feel it now.
This Chinese team has really done their best to eliminate all the areas of super risk on high bar. What we saw from Alexei Nemov, for example, we saw 6 major release skills, 4 of them done in combination. That's how he gets all his bonus. The Chinese are doing intricate turns, combining them, so they don't have to let go of the bar.
And I have to say, for the audience, they much prefer the high-flying release skills because they don't understand the intricate moves.
To Jing Aowei, the lineup here, this final rotation. We'll be seeing China, then Japan and Russia, followed by the United States.
And I'll tell you, doing the intricate turns, yes, it's difficult, but it's not high bar in my opinion. It's a little bit like a loophole in the tax code. They found something like this combination right here. Gives him 5/10 of a point. Here's his release.
Whoa!
Oh, that was very much right on his fingertips.
And he holds on to it.
High-fiving the coaches. When did we last see this?
Only one more solid score to come.
Nice dismount here.
So again, Tim, what you're saying is they're playing within the rules,
Yeah.
but they're playing it safe.
Oh, they definitely are.
And they're sticking their landings.
They made a conscious decision. They have, years ago, they had athletes doing some of the most spectacular releases in the world. Now they just don't do them anymore.
They're not giving away tenths here at all. 9.525, and now Teng Haibin.
I'd say this guy grabs the bar one time, and I'm thinking that it's almost a done deal.
In the team qualification, he scored 9.637.
So if he gets something like that here. The final Chinese team member to go.
Here is his release skill. Very conservative. This is nice. This is difficult stuff. It's just a release. No matter how often you practice it, there's still a large margin of error.
But look at the form. It's beautiful.
One dismount.
And now it's catch us if you can, and it doesn't seem as though anybody can. They just never had to absorb that really bad score. The United States, for example, had to overcome an early 8-9. Lots of support up there in the crowd here at Arrowhead Pond.
His one and only release skill. And as I mentioned, super form.
9-7-2-5. And they are giving off the look of a team that thinks it's official. So now the battle is behind China, the United States and Japan. And can Russia do something to save a little face here in Anaheim, California? We're coming to the close of the team finals in the World Championships. For the Chinese men not to take gold medals home as a souvenir from their trip to the United States back across the Pacific Ocean, the judges here would have to write down numbers they haven't written down in years, like 9 9s and 10s. So the battle begins for silver and bronze. Takahiro Kashima for Japan, and it's really close, Tim, between them and the United States.
It is actually less than 0.4 of a point, and when I watched the teams in training, I thought that Japan might have the best high bar team in the world. Beautiful gymnastics, beautiful lines. They do some releases, but they also have those intricate elements. And
Tim, this guy will make it very interesting because he scored 9-7 in the first day. He's got one of these big release skills coming up right here.
Beautiful extended grab on that Kovacs. He has a lightness about him when he performs. So far, this is bang on. This is beautiful.
Wow.
Double wow.
It's beautiful. Like I said, he scored 9-7 in the first day. He's going to make this really tough.
Yeah, he could get better than that, believe it or not.
That could be Kashima's best moment of the day in this team final. And now, what of Russia? The Russian men are over at the parallel bar. Alexei Bondarenko. It's had a fairly consistent day, just not a spectacular day. 9-3-5, 9-3-5, 9-4-2-5.
Does a very nice combination. Coming up right here, he'll do a huge straddle front. It's all about putting skills together to bring in those big bonus scores. Very clean exercise so far.
Some of the best gymnastics we've seen from him in a very long time.
Go back to the Japanese contingent. Kashima gets a 9.712, his best score of the day. And for Bondarenko, the day is done. His best score of the day, 9.637. And now a huge ovation, and rightfully so, for royalty in this sport, Alexei Nemov.
They changed the rules almost after every Olympic Games, and when they did, Alexei's routine that he was performing had virtually no value. Had to learn this skill called a peach basket. He does it in a variety of ways. He does it very well. He's got a style about him that few gymnasts are ever able to capture.
I'd say he's relearned the skills.
Yeah.
And he's a showman too.
No question about it. This guy is certainly one of the absolute all-time greats. Maybe even as high as top 3 of all time, maybe even higher. He's remarkable.
He kept his team afloat today, almost single-handed. Hiroyuki Tomita.
You know, Tim talked about some of the skills that the Chinese were doing, the release skills that were fairly simple. Well, this guy does a skill where he takes a huge amount of risk. It's called a Kovacs, and he does it with a full twist.
Comes very early right here. Beautiful, keeps his knees together. Nowadays, it's not just good enough to do the super hard element. You got to do it really tight. Very few gymnasts able to pull that off on that element. Does a lot of skills that require a tremendous amount of flexibility. Really capitalizes. Very quick. It looks easy, but
These guys are nailing these landings.
A rousing conclusion here for the Japanese team.
and this is going to put a little bit of pressure on Team USA. These are going to be big numbers. And the USA, they have a lot of times to grab the bar.
9.787 for Alexei Nemov. How about that for a final performance today? Tomita, 9.662. High-level high bar here in Anaheim, California. Now the United States enters the scene. They've been backstage, staying ready as best they can. Bronze or silver for them as they try to defend their World Championship silver medal. The conclusion of the team final after this on NBC. It's the final rotation for Team USA. Elfie Schlegel and Tim Daggett have crunched the numbers. Elfie, what does the United States need to win the gold?
A 9.88.
Ooh, that's a tall order. And Tim, what do they need to catch Japan for silver?
Well, they need to average a 9.43, which is certainly doable, but remember, they got to catch the bar a bunch of times.
This is Brett McClure. Earlier on Pommel Horse, he suffered a huge 5/10 deduction. And it's come down to tenths, as it usually does.
Well, little bit of a struggle there. He was able to hang on. Going to be a small deduction. He also has one of those routines. It certainly caters to the rules. A lot of use of flexibility like that. Intricate turning. Great dismount. That'll work. That's going to get a number that's certainly good enough to stay right there with the Japanese.
What they want is better than 9.43.
That's what they want from all of the gymnasts. You'd like to have a cushion, certainly, in case that last gymnast or the next gymnast struggles, either Paul or Blaine. Love his dismount. He leaves the bar without twisting for so long. Technically, it's what you're trying to get your athletes to do. Just the step on the landing, though.
And Brett McClure does get higher than that 9.43 average needed, 9.525. So now it's up to the two anchors of the team.
And Blaine scored 9.562 in the first day of competition, so that's doable.
Wife Makari looking on. You got it, dude. Blaine's biggest challenge comes right off the bat. A big Kovacs in the laid out position.
Oh.
Wow, and he caught that really late. But will incur no deduction for it.
He's being super aggressive in this routine.
You got it, man.
Just a dismount. Finally a stuck landing.
A big moment for Blaine Wilson. For years, he has led this Team USA. He has been their coach. He has been their guidance counselor. He has suffered through losing years and disappointments at the Olympics. And now maybe it is all coming together for him and the United States 1 year away from the Olympics.
He has been the man for this USA team today.
Take a bow, Blaine. And the members of Team Japan are watching. They know where this is being played out. They've heard the crowd. They've seen him stick it.
You know, I asked him about only doing the 3 events today, and he said, in the past, I was the guy that did it all.
And he's done it all here, 9.787.
And that pretty much guarantees Blaine Wilson what he has been craving for so long, a world championship medal.
One more to go. All Paul Hamm has to be is average for Paul Hamm.
In day 1, Paul Hamm missed his second release skill, came off the bar. Here's a big one. Right on. Two flips, 2 twists, and a silver medal.
A step back, but is it good enough?
It's good enough. That is going to do it.
And you know what's weird? No one in this building right now, unless they are dialed into some computer interface that we don't know about, knows the deal. They just have seen numbers. They never put up on the scoreboard what the United States needs to score to win or get the silver medal. And so everyone in the building right now is in a total cloud. Did they win the gold? Are they the bronze? Are they out of the medal picture? Where are they?
They're waiting very patiently to see that score up on the board.
This team has come so far. They truly are a remarkable group of young men.
Paul wants to see it. 9.475. So all 3 scores over the average needed. The United States has taken the silver medal, and Japan, for a team that's on the rebound, that's feeling rejuvenated, a bronze medal in the World Championships ahead of Russia, that's a major deal.
That's awesome. I'm proud as hell to be a part of this team. And you know what's funny? Is that come next year, we know damn well that we've got their number.
You lost a light.
Because we have 2 mistakes. Let's do it next year.
Okay, let's take stock of what happened.
That's why
You had the weird score from Morgan Hamm. You had the deduction that we can fix to Brett McClure. And without those 2 deductions, that medal is gold. We'll talk to the key players on this team when we come back to California. The World Gymnastics Championships are brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the USA Gymnastics team. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. By Allstate, you're in good hands with Allstate. And by Zocor, talk to your doctor about Zocor today. As they were in the 2000 Sydney Olympics, the Chinese men are the class of the world. The United States takes silver and the Japan team bronze. One of the stories, that of Jason Gatson. Here's Andrea Joyce.
Jason, congratulations. Everything that you've been through, all those years of rehab, did you ever imagine a moment like this?
Who would have thought? No, I couldn't imagine. No, it was so exciting tonight. You know, we had a great time. Our team stuck together, and we fought for everything that the U.S. is about, you know.
You've had a game face on throughout this competition, but how emotional is this for you because of all the struggles that you had to go through?
It's really emotional, you know, going through hard times and then getting back to this point is just, it's been a roller coaster, but, you know, I love it so much that it's been great.
You guys had the highest score in the preliminaries, but not in the finals. What was the difference tonight?
There's just a couple mistakes here and there, you know. It happens in a meet like this, but all in all, we stuck together, and that's why we ended up second. It was good.
What can you guys take away from this now as you get ready to prepare for Athens?
We just need to work on a few things, you know, work on more consistency and more stuck landings, and I think that will end up getting us the gold.
Good luck. We'll see you in Athens.
Thank you.
And then there's the story of Blaine Wilson, 3 decades old now, hanging on for that Olympic chance ahead. Back to Andrea.
Blaine, congratulations. Tell us what it means to you to win your first ever World Championship medal, the silver.
Well, I can't really, describe it right now. This is for John and all the old school guys that, we helped build this program from '95. Trying to get some medals since then. So
you waited a long time for this. Is it emotional for you?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm still living on high bar at the present moment, so I'm not really thinking about it. Just kind of.
Well, that's where you secured the silver medal for the United States. Knowing how well China and Japan had done on high bar, what was going through your mind in that last rotation?
Actually, we opted not to know anything as far as the last event was concerned. So. Myself, Brett, and Paul didn't want to know any scores and just go out there and do our own gymnastics, and whatever medal we ended up with, that's what we ended up with. So.
You ended up on an emotional high, but is it at all frustrating to be so close to the gold?
I thought we competed well. I mean, we had some small mistakes, but the fact is that China's going to go home and they're going to know that, next year they better keep training because we're coming home.
And what do you guys need to do between now and Athens to catch the Chinese?
I think very small things. Everybody has their routines down. They're going to be doing them for a year, so we're going to be just as good as they are next year.
Okay, congratulations again.
Thank you. Go USA.
There was a time not long ago when back-to-back World Championship silver medals seemed unthinkable for Team USA. Now with that a reality, one more step to climb, and the chance comes in Athens 2004. A reminder that tomorrow at 2 Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, the women take the floor at the World Gymnastics Championships in the team finals. And then tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern and Pacific in prime time, it's the women's all-around finals. With Andrea Joyce, Elfie Schlegel, and Tim Daggett, Al Troutwig. See you tomorrow here on NBC.